still waiting for justice, for acknowledgement, and for the meaningful reparations that can help restore their dignity. For them, transitional justice is not an abstract policy discussion. It is a daily reality marked by unmet expectations and prolonged suffering. Likewise, many have died without getting answers. The Government White Paper represents a promise of justice, a promise of accountability and reform. However, delayed implementation risks eroding public trust and undermining the very objectives of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission. It is therefore imperative that the pace and implementation be accelerated with clear timeline, transparency, and sustained political will. Central to this is the issue of reparations. Victims and their families must not continue to bear the burden of delay. We call on increased budgetary allocations towards the reparations program to ensure that victims receive adequate and timely support. Reparations are not acts of charity. They are obligations of the state and the cornerstone of retroactive justice. Coordination of Tango and alongside partners such as the Victim Center have remained steadfast in supporting the transitional justice process, from facilitating victims' participation, conducting awareness campaign, and advocating for accountability to monitoring implementation and amplifying the voices of victims. Civil society continues to play a critical role. We stand ready to work collaboratively with the National Assembly and all stakeholders to ensure that the aspirations of the TRRC processes are fully realized. This training provides an opportunity to strengthen your understanding, sharpen your oversight tools, and reaffirm your commitment to justice and accountability. The decisions and actions you take as legislators will shape the legacy of this transitional justice process for generations to come. Let us move forward with renewed resolve to ensure that justice is not delayed, that victims are not forgotten, and that the promise of never again becomes a lived reality for all Gambians. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Madam Chair of Tango, Madam Heri Mujai, for that wonderful keynote address. He touched on so many issues, like TJ being a daily reality in the Gambia, that many victims are dying while waiting for reparations, and also he talked about reparations being an obligation on the government, and also touched on the monitoring role of the Tango and the CSOs as far as the implementation of the TRRC recommendations are concerned. And she concluded by emphasizing the need for the embracement of the Never Again mantra. Thank you once again, Madam. I would now want to call upon our Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly, Mr. Debo Jata, to deliver welcome remarks. Opening remarks, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable members of the National Assembly, His Excellency the Ambassador of the European Union to the Gambia, the Chairperson of Tango, Acting Board Chair of the Victim Center, facilitators, distinguished guests, partners, and members of the press. Good morning to you all. On behalf of the Clerk of the National Assembly, it is a privilege to address this distinguished gathering. This workshop, convened under the AU-EU Initiative for Transitional Justice in Africa, serves as a critical consultative platform to align national policy with operational practice. The objective is to facilitate the effective operationalization of the African Union Transitional Justice Policy and the Government White Paper on the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission's recommendation. Honorable members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Gambia is currently at a critical juncture in its democratic transition. This workshop aims to seek the transitional justice framework from conceptual recommendations to tangible institutional reforms. The four-day agenda is structured around two primary pillars, notably integrating the AUTJP and TRRC recommendations into the national legislative and public discourse to ensure comprehensive awareness and institutional alignment, and to transition from a model of passive consultation to one of active participation, ensuring that victims of human rights violations are primary stakeholders in the restorative justice and reform process. Honorable members, while the TRRC has concluded its investigative mandate and the executive has issued its white paper, the implementation phase necessitates rigorous legislative intervention. The National Assembly strategically positioned to drive this transition as it holds the exclusive mandate to enact the statutory reforms into enforceable laws. The Assembly's constitutional authority over the national budget is also vital to ensure that transitional justice mechanisms are adequately resourced and independent, and through its oversight functions, the National Assembly can monitor the executive compliance with the white paper, ensuring transparency, accountability, and adherence to implementation roadmap. As National Assembly, we also recognize the fact that the success of the transition is predicated on robust international and domestic partnership. We acknowledge the European Union for its technical and financial support, and the African Union for providing the normative framework that guides our regional approach. Furthermore, the roles of Tango and the victim centers remain indispensable in maintaining the integrity of the process and ensuring that the human rights dimensions of the transition are prioritized. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, transitional justice is an essential mechanism for institutional transformation and the consolidation of the rule of law. It is not a retrospective exercise in grievance, but a prospective strategy to strengthen democratic resilience and prevent the recurrence of systematic human rights violations. The National Assembly remains committed to establishing a governance framework where justice is an accessible right and institutional integrity is paramount. Honorable members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to a productive outcomes of these deliberations. I thank you.
Thank you very much, our able Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly, for that wonderful statement. He touched on various issues which are very critical, and also talked about the important role that the National Assembly plays in the TJ process in the Gambia. Thank you once again, Mr. Jata. Now I would want to take the opportunity to call upon the Ambassador of the European Union to the Gambia, Madam Immaculada Roca Cortis, to deliver the opening statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. honorable members of the National Assembly, Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly, Mr. Sandeng, Acting Chairperson of the Gambian Center for Victims and Human Rights Violations, Chairperson of Tango, representative of civil society, other members of the Victim Center, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, Salam Alaikum. It is a great honor for me to join you today at the opening of this very important workshop. Let me begin by sincerely thanking the organizers, the Gambian Center for Victims and Human Rights Violations for the invitation, but as well for the steadfast commitment to justice, dignity, and the healing for victims. I also want to acknowledge the African Transnational Justice Legacy Fund and all the partners involved in making this initiative possible, including, of course, the broader partnership between the African Union and the European Union Cooperation on Transitional Justice in Africa. It has already been said, but this workshop comes at a very important moment in the Gambian's democratic journey. The country has made significant progress in confronting the past. The work of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission was a major milestone. It marked a historic step in giving victims a voice, uncovering the truth, and helping the nation reflect on a painful chapter of its history. But truth-telling, important as it is only one part of the journey. The real test, and has already as well been said, lies in implementation, in translating recommendations into action and commitments into meaningful change for people's life. And this is why your discussion over the next days are going to be so important. Over the next 4 days, you will reflect on two very important frameworks. The African Union Transnational Justice Policy, which provides an African victim-centered and comprehensive approach to justice, and the Government White Paper on the TRRC recommendations, which set out the Gambia's own path towards reconciliation, reparation, accountability, institutional reform, and above all, a guarantee of non-recurrence. These are not mere technical documents. These are instruments for national renewal. They are tools to help to build a more just, democratic, a peaceful future in the Gambia. And in this process, of course, the role of the National Assembly is essential. As legislators and representative of the Gambian people, you have a central responsibility in shaping the next phase of transitional justice. Your role is not limited to debating laws. It includes oversight, advocacy, budget scrutiny, and helping ensure that the promises made to the victims are fulfilled. Your engagement will help determine whether transitional justice remains an aspiration or becomes a lived reality in the Gambia. The European Union is very proud to be next to you, to support, to stand with the Gambia on this journey. Our support to transitional justice reflects our broader partnership for democracy, human rights, and rule of law. We believe that sustainable peace can only be built on accountability, inclusion, and respect for human dignity, whoever the human person is. We also believe that victims must remain at the heart of the whole process. This particular initiative is therefore important not only because of the subject matter, but also because it helps strengthen the national ownership. Lasting progress cannot be imported. It must be led by Gambians, through Gambian institutions, for Gambian citizens, and therefore the Parliament plays a vital role in this national effort. I encourage all the participants to use this workshop in full, to ask questions, to exchange views openly, and to engage seriously with the policy and practical implications of transitional justice. These discussions are not only about the past, they are also about the kind of future the Gambia wishes to build. A future founded on justice, trust in institutions, and assurance that abuses will not be repeated. Ladies and gentlemen, the road to justice is rarely easy, and it's seldom quick. However, the importance of the timing has already been underlined, and it's important that we underline it again. But this road to justice, it's necessary. It demands courage, leadership, and persistence. The presence of all of you here today is a positive sign that this journey continues with commitment and purpose. On behalf of the European Union, I wish you fruitful deliberations over the next days. I am confident that this workshop will strengthen understanding, deepen commitment, and contribute to advancing transitional justice in the Gambia. It now gives me a great pleasure to officially declare this workshop open. Thank you very much, Jerry.
Madam Ambassador, we are so grateful for your presence and for declaring this very important workshop open. She dealt on so many issues and emphasized on the important role that National Assembly members play in the EJ process. Looking at the TRRC, the establishment of the TRRC, the report, and even the National Human Rights Commission that is monitoring the implementation of the TRRC recommendation report directly to the National Assembly on an annual basis. So that shows how important your role is as far as the TJ project is concerned. And she also talked about the TRRC being a historic process, allowing victims to be heard, to give their testimonies, and to have their cases documented. And the issue of parenting of not every current is also emphasized, as well as translating the TRRC recommendation into action. The government needs to be more proactive as far as the recommendations are concerned. And she concluded by emphasizing that the EU is the Gambia and it's ready to support initiatives related to transfer of this body. Madam Ambassador, thank you once again. Thank you very much to all the. This one. Okay. It's back. Sorry for that noise. So I want to thank all the speakers for gracing the occasion and for delivering statements. And we are so grateful for this partnership between the EU, African Union, and the AUTJP that led to this project. And this is the most important activity as far as this project is concerned. So we hope that the next 4 days will be very, very useful, and it will be an opportunity to ask questions and seek clarifications from the facilitators who are all present here with us. So on that note, we come to the end of the opening ceremony, and I would want to call upon everyone to join us to have a group photo with the ambassador and all the dignitaries, so that after that we'll have a tea break together. Then after that, the sessions will start proper. Thank you once again for having us.
We should be listening to the song that has been composed.
Yeah,
I understood completely.
You have the song?
Do you have the song? Because that would be very good. Sorry, but I think it's a very nice initiative.
Yes, you are right.
They said they have a song.
Yeah, there is a song.
Oh
yeah, there is a song.
That would be great.